The journey of parenthood is perhaps the most powerful spiritual classroom we will ever enter. When we look into the eyes of our children, we are not merely seeing another being, we are witnessing a reflection of our own soul manifesting in another form. This profound mirroring effect is exactly what Edgar once described as the ultimate catalyst for spiritual healing. The souls that come to us as our children are not random assignments, but carefully orchestrated reunions designed to help us face the very aspects of ourselves we have been avoiding for lifetimes. When your child displays anger, stubbornness, or fear, pay close attention to what rises within you. That immediate emotional reaction is not just about their behavior, it's about the unhealed parts of yourself being illuminated through their actions. The traits that trigger you most profoundly in your children are often the exact qualities you've struggled to acknowledge or heal within yourself. This mirror works with remarkable precision. A parent who struggles with expressing emotions may find themselves raising a highly sensitive child who demands emotional validation. A soul who has avoided confrontation across lifetimes might incarnate with a child who fearlessly speaks truth. The universe operates with this perfect symmetry to create opportunities for growth that we simply cannot ignore or postpone. The daily practice of parenting strips away our defenses and exposes our vulnerabilities with unmatched efficiency. There is nowhere to hide when a child needs you at 3 a.m., when they challenge your patience for the 20th time in a day, or when they ask questions that force you to examine your own beliefs and values. This relentless exposure is not punishment, it is divine grace in action. Consider how quickly parenting reveals your true priorities. Before having children, many spiritual seekers believe they value patience, unconditional love, and selfless service. The reality of parenthood quickly tests these aspirations against the demands of daily life. Can your spiritual ideals withstand sleep deprivation? Do they survive when your plans are constantly interrupted? This is not just character building, it is karmic acceleration. The soul craves evolution, but our egos resist change. Parenthood creates the perfect conditions to bypass ego resistance, because the love we feel for our children motivates us to do the inner work we might otherwise avoid. We become willing to examine inherited patterns, release limiting beliefs, and heal generational wounds, not just for ourselves, but for these beloved beings who depend on us. This mirror reflection works in another profound way. Our children inherit not just our genetic makeup, but also our energy patterns, beliefs, and unresolved traumas. When we witness our own unhealthy patterns emerging in our children, we receive a powerful invitation to heal. Many parents report experiencing profound moments of realization when they see their own parents' behaviors emerging through them, or their own patterns reflected in their children. The spiritual principle at work here is that we cannot truly hide from ourselves in the parent-child relationship. Every interaction becomes a potential moment of awakening. A child's innocent question can suddenly illuminate decades of conditioned thinking. Their spontaneous joy can reveal how far we've drifted from our own natural state of being. Their vulnerability can expose the walls we've built around our hearts. This mirror quality of parenthood explains why the experience can be simultaneously the most challenging and the most rewarding aspect of human existence. The difficult moments aren't random obstacles, they're precisely calibrated opportunities for soul evolution. Each challenging phase of childhood corresponds to lessons your soul needs to learn. The spiritual teaching here is profound. Your children come into your life not just to learn from you, but to be your greatest teachers. They arrive with a soul contract to help you heal the exact wounds that have followed you across lifetimes. Their presence in your life is a sacred agreement, one that can accelerate your spiritual evolution beyond any other practice. When we approach parenthood as this spiritual mirror, we begin to see that even the most difficult days are serving our highest good. The patience we develop, the unconditional love we learn to express, the ego surrender we practice. These are exactly the qualities our souls have been seeking to embody. By embracing parenting as a spiritual practice rather than just a social role, we transform ordinary moments into opportunities for extraordinary healing. The mirror doesn't lie. It simply shows us where we are and what we need to address. And in that reflection, we find our path to wholeness. The souls that enter our lives as our children are rarely strangers to us. They are, in many cases, spiritual companions we have encountered repeatedly throughout our soul's journey across time and space. This understanding transforms how we perceive the parent-child relationship, elevating it from a mere biological connection to a sacred reunion of souls with profound purpose. Ancient wisdom traditions have long recognized what modern spiritual seekers are rediscovering, that family bonds often represent the continuation of relationships from previous incarnations. These are not random assignments, but carefully orchestrated reunions designed to continue soul work left unfinished in other lifetimes. As we navigate the daily experiences of parenting, we are simultaneously engaging in a deep process of balancing karmic energies and fulfilling soul contracts established long ago. Consider the immediate and inexplicable connection many parents feel when first meeting their newborn child. That overwhelming sense of recognition, "I know you," is not merely biological instinct, but the soul's acknowledgement of a familiar energy. Many parents report dreams or intuitive insights about their children before birth, sensing aspects of their personality or purpose. These experiences aren't coincidental, but reflect the pre-birth agreements made between souls. The quality of your connection with each child offers clues about your shared history. A relationship characterized by immediate ease and natural understanding may indicate a harmonious past connection where both souls supported each other's growth. Conversely, challenging relationships marked by persistent conflict or misunderstanding often point to unresolved tensions or karmic imbalances seeking resolution in this lifetime. These ancient bonds explain why certain parent-child relationships carry such emotional intensity. The love, frustration, or conflict we experience isn't simply about present circumstances, but may be carrying the energetic residue of many previous encounters. A parent who feels an inexplicable need to protect a child beyond normal concern might be unconsciously remembering a lifetime where they failed to do so. A child who resists parental authority with unusual determination might be balancing a previous incarnation where power dynamics between the same souls were reversed. The spiritual teaching here reveals a profound truth. No significant relationship exists in isolation from our soul's broader journey. Each family constellation represents a carefully crafted opportunity to address unfinished business from our collective past. This perspective helps explain why certain family dynamics feel so deeply ingrained and resistant to change. They're carrying the momentum of patterns established across multiple lifetimes. This understanding offers tremendous hope for healing. When we recognize that challenging parent-child relationships may stem from ancient wounds or imbalances, we can approach them with greater compassion and purpose. The daily opportunities to practice forgiveness, understanding, and unconditional love become powerful vehicles for resolving karmic patterns that may have persisted for centuries. Consider the parent who struggles with a particularly challenging child. From a limited perspective, they might see only difficulty and misfortune. From a soul perspective, they've been given precisely the relationship they need to heal specific aspects of themselves. Perhaps this child's behaviors trigger memories of how they themselves were treated. Or perhaps this soul has returned to teach lessons of patience and acceptance that were rejected in a previous incarnation. The specific lessons embedded in each parent-child relationship are uniquely tailored to the souls involved. Some return to balance energies of nurturing. A parent who was neglected now has the opportunity to provide the care they once lacked. Others come together to resolve authority conflicts. Souls who misused power over each other now work to establish healthy boundaries and respect. Still others reunite to heal heartbreak. Those who experience separation or abandonment now have the chance to create security and constancy. This soul-level understanding explains why parenting often feels both deeply familiar and profoundly challenging. You are not just raising a child, you are engaging with a soul with whom you have danced before in different circumstances. The irritations, joys, and moments of deep connection are not random emotional responses, but echoes of your shared history unfolding in a new context. Families with multiple children demonstrate this principle with remarkable clarity. Notice how your relationship with each child carries its own unique emotional signature and challenges. One relationship might focus on lessons of trust, another on communication, and yet another on independence. These distinctions reflect the specific karmic threads being rewoven with each soul. The daily practice of parenting, then, becomes a profound opportunity for spiritual advancement. Each interaction, whether teaching a skill, setting a boundary, or offering comfort, creates the potential to balance energies carried forward from previous incarnations. A moment of patience shown today may heal an ancient wound of rejection. An act of understanding may resolve a pattern of misunderstanding that has persisted across lifetimes. This perspective helps explain why the parent-child relationship often feels charged with such significance. On some level, we recognize that these connections transcend the boundaries of our current lifetime. The emotions that arise, whether beautiful or difficult, carry the resonance of many shared experiences across the soul's journey. The most transformative insight this teaching offers is that these soul connections provide precisely the conditions we need for our highest evolution. The children who challenge us most directly are often those with whom we share the most complex karmic history, and therefore the greatest potential for mutual growth and healing. When we approach these relationships with awareness of their deeper purpose, even the most difficult interactions become opportunities for spiritual liberation. By recognizing parenting as the continuation of ancient soul bonds, we transform ordinary family life into a sacred journey of karmic healing. Each day brings new opportunities to rewrite old patterns, balance energies, and fulfill the soul agreements that have drawn these particular spirits together in this specific configuration. In this light, the family becomes not just a social unit, but a spiritual crucible designed for the precise healing work your soul requires at this stage of its evolution. Among the most profound spiritual principles that Edgar shared with the world is that service to others functions as a direct pathway to healing the soul. This teaching takes on extraordinary significance when applied to parenthood, perhaps the most demanding, consistent, and transformative form of service a human being can undertake. The daily acts of caring, nurturing, teaching, and sacrificing for another being create a spiritual alchemy that dissolves karmic patterns more effectively than almost any other life experience. At its essence, parenthood represents service in its purest form. Unlike other types of service that might be performed occasionally or with recognition, parenting demands constant attention to another's needs, often at the expense of personal comfort, desires, and even basic necessities like sleep. This continuous surrender of the self for the benefit of another creates the perfect conditions for spiritual transformation. Each diaper changed, each meal prepared, each sleepless night spent comforting a child. These seemingly mundane acts carry profound spiritual significance when performed with presence and love. What makes this service so powerful as a vehicle for karmic healing? The answer lies in the unique way parenthood systematically dismantles the ego structure that perpetuates our karmic patterns. When we become parents, we quickly discover that our children's needs must frequently supersede our own. This requirement for selflessness directly challenges the ego's primary agenda, to protect and prioritize itself. As we repeatedly choose our child's well-being over our own comfort, we gradually loosen the ego's grip on our consciousness. Consider the spiritual mechanics at work in this process. Karma, at its core, stems from actions motivated by ego, by our attachments, aversions, and ignorance of our true nature. The consistent practice of putting another's needs before our own begins to dissolve these egoic patterns. When you wake at 3 a.m. to comfort a frightened child, despite your own exhaustion, you are not just being a good parent, you are actively unwinding karmic patterns of self-centeredness that may have followed your soul for many lifetimes. This understanding illuminates why many spiritual traditions emphasize service as a path to enlightenment. Selfless service naturally aligns us with our higher spiritual nature, bypassing the intellectual concepts that often slow spiritual growth. In parenthood, this service isn't an occasional practice, but becomes the foundation of daily life. Each moment presents a choice, to respond from ego or from love, to prioritize convenience or connection, to practice patience or indulge frustration. These countless decision points become opportunities for spiritual advancement. The transformative potential of parental service extends beyond simply dissolving negative patterns. It actively cultivates spiritual virtues. Patience, for instance, isn't merely an admirable quality, but a spiritual capacity that expands the soul's ability to harmonize with divine timing. When a parent practices patience with a child's developmental process, whether learning to tie shoes or navigating complex emotions, they are simultaneously developing their soul's capacity for divine patience. Similarly, the compassion required in parenting helps heal karmic patterns of judgment and criticism. When we witness our child's struggles and respond with understanding rather than condemnation, we are rewiring ancient patterns of harsh judgment, both toward others and ourselves. The parent who learns to meet their child's mistakes with compassion is simultaneously healing their own wounds of perfectionism and self-criticism carried across lifetimes. Another profound aspect of parental service involves the surrender of control, a direct antidote to the ego's need to manipulate outcomes. Children, by their very nature, defy our attempts to control them. They arrive with their own temperaments, develop at their own pace, and make choices that frequently confound our expectations. This persistent challenge to our illusion of control creates the perfect conditions for spiritual surrender, the recognition that we are not the ultimate authors of reality. The spiritual teaching here reveals something remarkable. The very aspects of parenthood that feel most challenging are precisely those with the greatest potential for karmic healing. The child who tests your patience isn't simply being difficult. They're providing exactly the catalyst your soul needs to develop greater spiritual capacity. The moments that push you to your limits are often those where the most significant karmic dissolution occurs. This perspective transforms how we view the sacrifices of parenthood. What might be seen as losses from an egoic perspective, loss of freedom, sleep, personal space, career advancement, become recognized as spiritual gains. Each sacrifice represents an opportunity to loosen the grip of attachment and identification that keep karmic patterns in place. The parent who surrenders their personal agenda to meet their child's needs is engaged in a profound spiritual practice of non-attachment. The spiritual principle at work here points to a universal truth. We heal most effectively when focused on serving others rather than fixing ourselves. Many spiritual seekers become trapped in endless self-improvement projects, analyzing their patterns and working to overcome their limitations. Parenthood offers a different approach. By focusing wholehearted attention on nurturing another being, our own healing occurs as a natural byproduct. This reflects the paradoxical spiritual wisdom that we find ourselves by forgetting ourselves in service. This understanding helps explain why many people report experiencing dramatic spiritual growth after becoming parents. The intensity and consistency of the service required creates an accelerated path of transformation. Patterns of reactivity, impatience, or selfishness that might have taken decades to address through meditation or self-reflection often shift rapidly when confronted with the immediate needs of a dependent child. The law of service as spiritual healing applies to all aspects of the parent-child relationship. Teaching values becomes an opportunity to clarify and embody your own highest principles. Setting boundaries becomes a practice in establishing healthy, energetic containers. Witnessing your child's joy becomes an invitation to rediscover wonder and presence. Each dimension of parenting offers specific vehicles for healing particular aspects of the soul's journey. Perhaps most significantly, the service of parenthood often requires us to heal our own childhood wounds in order to parent effectively. As we strive to provide the security, validation, or freedom our children need, we frequently confront the places where we ourselves feel unhealed or incomplete. This creates a powerful opportunity for generational healing, breaking karmic patterns that may have persisted through many family lineages. By approaching parenthood as a spiritual practice of service rather than merely a social role, we transform ordinary family life into an extraordinary path of karmic healing. The daily sacrifices, challenges, and acts of care become recognized not as burdens, but as precisely calibrated opportunities for soul evolution. In this light, parenting becomes one of the most direct paths to spiritual advancement available in human experience, a continuous invitation to transcend the limited self and embody the wisdom, love, and presence that represent our true divine nature. The profound spiritual principle of forgiveness stands at the heart of the parent-child relationship, offering perhaps the most powerful mechanism for karmic resolution available to human souls. When two souls reunite in the parent-child dynamic, they often carry unresolved energies from previous incarnations, old wounds, misunderstandings, betrayals, or unbalanced exchanges that seek completion. The intimate daily contact of family life creates the perfect laboratory for this healing work, providing countless opportunities for forgiveness to dissolve the karmic bonds that have held these souls together across time. This forgiveness operates on multiple levels simultaneously, each with its own healing potential. First, there is the parent's forgiveness of the child, for their mistakes, challenges, and the ways they inevitably fall short of expectations. Then there is the child's forgiveness of the parent, for imperfections, limitations, and the unavoidable ways in which no parent can meet all needs perfectly. Beyond these obvious dimensions lies a deeper forgiveness of the soul patterns and karmic entanglements that have followed these spirits through many lifetimes. The spiritual teaching reveals something remarkable about this process. When genuine forgiveness occurs between parent and child, the healing extends far beyond the current relationship. It creates ripples through the soul's journey, resolving energetic patterns that may have persisted for centuries. A moment of true forgiveness between these souls can heal wounds carried through dozens of previous incarnations, releasing both spirits from cycles that have defined their relationship across the ages. Consider how this operates in everyday family life. A parent who responds to a child's mistake with compassion rather than punishment isn't just creating a healthier dynamic in the present. They may be healing an ancient pattern where these same souls interacted through judgment and retribution. Similarly, an adult child who comes to understand and forgive their parents' limitations isn't just achieving personal peace. They may be resolving a soul contract that has bound these spirits together through many difficult incarnations. This understanding transforms how we view the inevitable challenges of the parent-child relationship. The conflicts, misunderstandings, and painful interactions aren't random difficulties, but precisely designed opportunities for karmic healing. Each challenging situation presents the exact conditions needed for these souls to practice the forgiveness that will liberate them both from old patterns. The parent struggling with a particularly difficult child behavior might be facing the exact issue that will, through forgiveness, release both souls from a pattern carried across lifetimes. The home environment itself becomes a sacred space for this healing work, a temple of reconciliation where ancient soul business is conducted through seemingly ordinary interactions. When approached with awareness, the family home transforms into a spiritual sanctuary where the deepest forms of karmic healing can occur. Every conversation, conflict, and moment of connection becomes an opportunity to practice the forgiveness that liberates both souls. What makes this forgiveness so powerful as a mechanism for karmic healing? Unlike many spiritual practices that require specific conditions or dedicated time, the forgiveness work of parenting is integrated into everyday life. It occurs in real time, addressing actual emotional triggers rather than abstract concepts. This practical, embodied quality makes the forgiveness exceptionally potent. It isn't theoretical, but lived experience, transforming the energetic patterns at their root. The spiritual mechanics of this forgiveness process involve the dissolution of what might be called karmic contracts, the agreements souls make to resolve unfinished business through future interactions. Many parent-child relationships represent the continuation of such contracts, with souls reuniting specifically to address imbalances or complete learning that was left unfinished in previous encounters. When true forgiveness occurs, these contracts can be fulfilled and dissolved, freeing both souls to relate from love rather than karmic obligation. This perspective offers profound hope for healing difficult family relationships. Even the most challenging parent-child dynamics can be transformed through the consistent practice of forgiveness. The parent who struggles to connect with a particular child may be working through the most significant soul contract of their lifetime, one that, when resolved through forgiveness, will liberate both spirits from patterns that have defined them for many incarnations. The double liberation that occurs through this forgiveness is perhaps its most remarkable aspect. When a parent truly forgives a child, they free not only the child from guilt or shame, but also themselves from resentment, disappointment, or anger. Similarly, when a child forgives a parent, they release not only the parent from blame, but themselves from the burden of past wounds. This mutual liberation creates space for a new relationship to emerge, one based on love and free choice, rather than karmic necessity. Forgiveness in the parent-child relationship also carries forward through generations, healing ancestral patterns that may have persisted through many family lines. The parent who forgives their own parent for shortcomings becomes more capable of parenting from wholeness rather than wound. This breaks generational cycles of dysfunction, creating new possibilities not just for the immediate family, but for all future generations. In this way, the forgiveness work of parenting contributes to the healing of collective karma that extends far beyond individual relationships. The most profound dimension of this forgiveness process involves what might be called soul recognition, moments when parent and child see beyond the roles and personalities of the current lifetime to recognize the eternal beings they truly are. In these moments of deep seeing, the superficial conflicts and challenges fall away, revealing the perfect spiritual logic that brought these souls together. This recognition itself can dissolve years of tension in an instant, as both spirits acknowledge the higher purpose of their reunion. For many souls, the parent-child relationship represents their final opportunity to resolve particular karmic patterns. Having encountered each other in many previous lifetimes, perhaps as spouses, siblings, friends, or enemies, these souls choose the intense crucible of family life for their final healing work together. This explains why the parent-child bond often carries such extraordinary emotional intensity. It represents the culmination of a soul journey that has unfolded across many centuries and incarnations. The spiritual principle at work here reveals that forgiveness isn't merely a nice virtue, but a metaphysical force that literally dissolves the energetic bonds of karma. When practiced with awareness and intention, forgiveness accelerates spiritual evolution more effectively than almost any other practice. And nowhere is this forgiveness more potent than in the parent-child relationship, where the depth of both love and challenge creates the perfect conditions for transformative healing. As we embrace this understanding, the daily practice of parenting becomes infused with profound spiritual significance. Each opportunity to forgive, whether a child's defiance, a teenager's rejection, or our own parenting mistakes, becomes recognized as a sacred moment of potential liberation. The small acts of forgiveness practiced in ordinary family life carry extraordinary spiritual power, gradually dismantling the karmic patterns that have defined these soul relationships across lifetimes. In the end, the highest spiritual teaching about parenting may be this: the love between parent and child creates the strongest foundation for forgiveness work that exists in human experience. This love, instinctive, fierce, and often unconditional, provides the emotional security needed for the vulnerable process of true forgiveness. When combined with spiritual awareness, this love-based forgiveness becomes the most direct path to liberation available to incarnated souls. By approaching the parent-child relationship as this sacred temple of forgiveness, we transform ordinary family life into an extraordinary spiritual journey. The daily opportunities to practice forgiveness for ourselves, our children, our parents, and the ancient patterns that have connected these souls become recognized as the precise spiritual work our souls have incarnated to complete. In this light, the family becomes the most powerful ashram, the most effective monastery, the most transformative spiritual retreat, a divinely designed environment where souls can finally complete the forgiveness work that liberates them to evolve beyond karmic necessity into the freedom of unconditional love. If these spiritual teachings on parenting have resonated with your soul, there's much more wisdom to discover together. Subscribe now to continue this exploration of healing through parenthood and unlock the deeper dimensions of your family's soul contracts. Share your own experiences in the comments below. How have you witnessed healing through your parenting journey? What karmic patterns have you recognized in your family relationships? Your insights may be exactly what another parent needs to hear today. Remember, this community grows stronger with each shared story. Like, subscribe, and join us as we walk this sacred path of healing together. The wisdom you need for your next step awaits in our upcoming teachings.